It'll probably take me longer to talk about this fly than it will to tie it. I came up with this fly after a tough day on the Mad River in the fall. There were little olives coming off. There were fish rising. I tried everything I could think of that I had with me to no avail. Finally, I had about an 18 Adams on, parachute Adams, and it was dragging in the water, and a fish came up and took it. And I immediately know that when that happens, I need to be fishing wet fly. And I went home that night, and I decided I needed a Flymph. Now, I had read an article years before about Flymphs, and didn't remember much from it, but came up with this fly. The very next day I went out to the Mad again, same exact spot, same exact conditions, stood in the same place, and caught over 20 fish in a matter of a couple of hours, including a couple of beautiful holdover trout that weren't stock fish. I think the first holdovers I'd ever caught on the Mad. Beautiful coloration. And after that, every fall I'd go out there and bang fish with this fly. At the same bridge, same place, about the same time of year. Ultimately, my son-in-law went out with me. He had never fly fished in his life. I first demonstrated to him what he should do. He was standing beside me, and doing my little demonstration, I caught a fish. He proceeded on about his second cast to catch a fish, brown trout, and this fly has just been sensational in the fall. One year out west on the Gallatin, same thing. Olives were out, betas, and nobody doing much. I know I had beat the water to a froth with a small sprout to no avail. I put this fly on with just a single small split shot. And out there, I was getting him on the dead drift, whereas on the Mad, I was getting him on the swing primarily. But out there, I was banging fish on the dead drift with this thing. It's a fantastic little fly. It's nothing earth-shattering. There have been hundreds of flies invented over the years that are just like this, if not identical. The only thing unique about this fly is I used a dry fly hook, dry fly hackle, dry fly tail, because I didn't have anything small enough when I first did it in the wet flies, and I've just kept it the same. It's a very cool fly. I encourage you to give this a shot in the fall, but it has to be a 20 or smaller. Don't be put off by a 20. I can tell you, if you think 20 is small, start with a 24 and try to tie it on a 24 for a while, and then switch to the 20, and the 20 will seem huge. Good luck with this fly. It's a great fly. This is a size 20 Tiemco TMC 100 standard dry fly hook. Just take enough turns with thread to get it started, because we're going to bind down the tinsel on the far side of the hook immediately. This will form the ribbing. This is an unusual way of doing this, but it'll work. Just trying to keep the bulk down since it's a 20. This is some spade hackle. done spade hackle. Just a few strands, 4 to 6. And then we want a fairly short tail up. On these small flies, I typically pull them to length just because it's tough to grab that small amount of hackle. And that looks about right. Don't need much of a tail on this. When I fish this fly, I usually fish it with a very, very small split shot, maybe about 8 inches above the fly. But it depends on a lot of conditions, what you do. This is some gray olive dubbing. Originally, I used just olive. And you can use just about anything that's dark green. This stuff I think is really super fine. It's Harrop's Mighty Fine. I think he just gets it from super fine. I don't know. Maybe not. Works well for this. And you want to dub it as finely as you can reasonably do so that you can build a taper going forward as with some overwrapping, whatever you need to do to build a taper. Because we want a thorax on this. This is mylar tinsel, and it's extra small. And I put the gold side towards the hook, and so it comes out gold. I've done some of these in silver. The fly still works fine. Doesn't seem to matter. I've tied these with hen hackle too, and they work. Nothing seems to matter. You just get it small enough and sparse enough. Keep the body to a reasonable size, and you can't go wrong. This is a dry fly hackle. This one is, I'm going to say it's size 18. I actually don't know the size. I eyeballed it, took it off a neck. You can use done saddle hackle for this. I've used that. I think I've used just about every kind of hackle. Whatever I've got readily available, it all works. You do want to tie it wet fly style. Well, you want to tie it Helen Shaw style, which is so it's tied in by the butt, but you want the flues to angle back. So it's not tied in by the tip as I do most wet flies. This is kind of an American style of tying wet flies. I typically don't recommend it, but it works beautifully for this because it's dry fly hackle, which you're used to tying in by the butt. Take as few reps as possible up front, and then do a 3-turn whip finish, and you're done. 3-turn whip finish is really all you need on any fly, other than the classic wets, which have the big black head and winged wets need to be glued. I hope you wind up loving this fly as much as I do.